On this episode of the Everything Goes podcast, we discussed the New Orleans Saints' performance this year and some things they need to improve on. Is this Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Packer? And we dive into the playoffs and predictions of who we believe will win it all.
Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to your favorite podcast, the Everything Goes podcast with TAK, where this is where the money happens, the gray hair happens, the TVs get broken, the remotes get broken, because we are playoff bound. At least 2 of the 3 are playoff bound. That's what we should say. Hey, this is going to be a very interesting playoff scenario. You know, the Jags are trying to prove that they are a good team. The Giants, this is their first playoff appearance since 2016. Brock Purdy is trying to prove that he is relevant, that he is this guy they just keep rolling. Hey, revenge tour for Joe Burrow as my pick to win it all, the Cincinnati Bengals. Chicago is on the clock with the first pick overall as the mock drafts are going to be pouring in. Coaches are already firing offensive coordinators. Head coaches are getting fired. We've had some technical difficulties to start this podcast, but hey, it is
easier
a
too.
Happy Monday, and we are all here. We got our coffee. We got the vibey lights. Hope you all had a great Christmas, a great New Year's. We're on the clock. Let's go, guys. It's great to have you. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Got the stitches out last week. Happy to see that Chris has survived the technical difficulties earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I got that new refrigerator in here. I should have filled it with freaking hard alcohol because, you know, I got the MacBook to make it easier, and it's absolutely. I did a test run, everything was fine, and of course, I had to be overconfident and just had these problems tonight.
Hey, it happens to the best
And
of
Chris,
us.
we trust. Hey, we knew you'd be able to get it done though. Regardless,
I had to go back to the old setup. You know, I had to go back to the headphones. I wanted to get rid of the Mickey Mouse ears and go cool with the ear pods, and it didn't work out.
I like the big headphones for podcasts.
Yeah, I still do too.
I'm fine. I'm new age.
The AirPods, you're gonna like those if you get them to work. They're supposed to, like, everything is good noise.
You know, everything was amazing. Like, I was walking around the house on Saturday, jamming out the music that I was playing on the freaking MacBook, and I was 2 rooms away jamming out my earpods.
Good stuff.
Oh, man.
And it just, for some reason, you know, overconfidence. That's the problem.
Hey, we'll get to work, as they say. Let's ride, Broncos Nation.
Into the sunset.
Hey, we'll dissect it real quick because my team didn't make the playoffs. Laugh about it, cry about it. It is what it is. I've shed my tears. I've had my heart broken. It is what it is. But I want to break it down because there are coaches being fired. And obviously the big headline that has been happening is Sean Payton. The Saints did allow him to talk to the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are aware that the Saints won at least a first-round pick and some picks to go with it. And then Sean Payton comes out, makes the whole thing interesting, and says, there's a good chance I'm not leaving. I'm staying on Fox. So who knows what's even going to happen in that situation. But me personally, the Arizona Cardinals just came out saying they fired Cliff Kingsbury. They had the 3rd overall pick. I'd love to see Sean Payton go to Arizona just so I can go out there and draft CJ Stroud, because the 3rd overall pick would be great because we don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah, but the problem is their GM stepped down as well too, so they have nobody to make a pick right now.
And how about the Cardinals coming out right now and saying there's a good chance we let Kyler Murray help decide what head coach we're going to have? Interesting.
I would not give a player that much power. Absolutely not. Especially a player that likes to play video games more than actually work on his game.
Yes.
That's horrible.
Why? This is the only time you've ever heard these sort of things come out about a quarterback. I feel like.
I mean, I don't think he'd have a huge decision. I think it was more like they said something like he might have an input towards it.
Do you think Tom Brady has an input?
I would say some quarterbacks have an input. Like, hey,
I think
do you know anything about this head coach? Like, do you have a vibe with him? Like, we might move in this direction with this coach. How do you feel about it? Like, maybe they want his opinion about it.
They're going down a very slippery slope. I don't want to segue too much on this because they're heading in the wrong direction as a franchise.
They get 4 wins
but
this
that
year?
move is worse. God, that's terrible. I just hate hearing stuff like that.
I think Tom Brady has a say when it comes to the play calling and the offensive mindset of the game. I think because he's been around a long time. And I think he puts his say in as far as players, but I don't think he's one of those guys that demands, like, if I don't get this guy or that guy, I'm done, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Kyler
No.
Murray's that kind of a guy. I think if Kyler Murray don't
Yes.
get his way, just like
Hmm.
what's his name? Russell Wilson came out today. They were talking about coaches for Denver, and he mentioned Dan Quinn. He's like, Dan Quinn, that's a guy I know. It's a real good guy, real good coach. I would like to see him come to Denver, but he's not pounding on the table saying, I want Dan Quinn.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
There's a
We'll see.
maturity
We'll
level
see.
to it. Yeah, absolutely. Some other big head news that came out of New Orleans today is Mickey Loomis did meet with Dennis Allen, because obviously people today in the interview asked him, how do you feel about your confidence in coming back next year? And he said basically what he said is everything seems to be pointing towards that I will be here next year. So I'm going to go on and do my normal routines. And in my personal opinion, as a Saints fan, is I don't necessarily not like this. I don't think Dennis Allen isn't the best head coach. I think if we're going to move forward, Dennis Allen, then we need a better offensive coordinator.
Yep.
If I asked you guys how many touchdowns you think Alvin Kamara had this year, a guy that is such a threat in the red zone, just take a guess.
Did he have more fumbles and touchdowns?
2.
4.
He had 2 touchdowns this year total.
Oh, wow.
I think he had more fumbles than touchdowns.
You have Alvin, and don't get me wrong, Taysom Hill had 7 rushing touchdowns. He's a great red zone threat too. But you have a guy in Alvin Kamara that once we got into the red zone, he disappeared. And you guys heard me talk all year about the play calling and how one week it works, and then the next week it's out the window. They didn't use it. In my personal opinion, this was it was a tough season. We finished 7-10, but what I'm very excited about is from week 12 to week 17, the Saints defense has allowed the fewest yards on defense in the NFL. And in those from weeks 12 to 17 is when the Saints started to slowly get healthy, not fully healthy, and also started to build chemistry and find that common ground with each other and play better together. And to me, this is the defense that me, you, Dad, that we've all talked about in this whole offseason, that this is the Saints defense we were looking for all year. And I think it took them too late of a time to actually mold and play. I mean, they held the Eagles to no first downs in the first quarter and barely any points. They held the Panthers to 32 passing yards, who coming into that game was a very hot offense, a 33 completion percentage, and a 2.8 passer rating. That defense played very well. And if they can stay healthy next year, there's a lot of young talent. I also look at the receiving room compared to 2 years ago. We have Chris Olave, who got 1,000 receiving yards this year. And we have Rashid Shaheed, who is an undrafted free agent, who was averaging 18.2 yards per reception, which was 3rd most in the NFL. Undrafted rookie receiver. I just think if I was to break this down, needs that the Saints need going into this season, they already have a top-tier defense, in my opinion. I believe from week 12 to week 17, that is the Saints defense if they stay healthy, an elite defense, in my opinion. We need a QB. We don't have a first-round pick. Andy Dalton put up pretty good career-high stats, but he's not an X factor. He doesn't put up a lot of touchdowns. You can't rely on him to win you the game. He did great.
He's a 1-year deal, so Winston's likely maybe
I think Andy Dalton's on a 1-year deal, and Winston has a second-year option. So I don't know what they're going to do. If I'm the Saints, I would bring back Dalton and draft a quarterback. At least you have Dalton in your back pocket who knows the offense and has played decently well. We need a quarterback. I want CJ Stroud or I want Lamar Jackson. It's as simple as that. That's my 2 options. If Derek Carr happens, it happens. I know we talked about that in the last podcast. And we need a power running back. Those are the 2 things I think the Saints really need. Alvin Kamara can get you a lot of rushing yards. He had, I have it written down here somewhere. He had 897 rushing yards this year. I mean, he can do it, but he's a threat out of the backfield. You pass to. We used to be the highest screen passing team in the NFL. We were in the bottom low as you can get in the NFL. We need a power running back. Mark Ingram's getting old. Don't re-sign him. We got the receivers. We got the defense. We got some tight ends. We need a good offensive coordinator, and we need a quarterback. And the Saints either need to try and trade Sean Payton and get him out of that booth and get a first-round pick, or they need to go spend this offseason. Even if and this is going to be funny, but I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo, but if you can get a veteran quarterback that can play better than Andy Dalton, that can take you and win you games, because we have the defense, we have the system that's set up. There's a lot here that shows there's a lot of positives in this Saints season, even though it wasn't the season we wanted. And Thomas and Jarvis Landry really hurt this year being injured because
Jarvis might be done.
They played so well those first 2 games of the year, and they just reconstructed Michael Thomas's contract to where he gets so much guaranteed this year that if they cut him this year, it's not a huge pay cut, saves like 19 million in cap space. It's some crazy thing they did. So everyone's talking about they're either going to release him by March or they're doing this to allow them to go get help. I don't know which one it is. I would love to keep him with how good our young wide receivers are, especially if they would get CJ Stroud. We got the Ohio State receivers, bring in the quarterback, but it wouldn't hurt me if we let him go at the same time. If we get money out of it to go spend, that's my Saints rant. Not the season I wanted. It was a lot of heartbreak, but there is a lot of positives that I'm looking forward to.
I gotta tell you something though. You nailed it on the head, but I wouldn't have a complete overhaul with the Saints. I mean, you guys were number 2 in the league in passing yards allowed behind the Eagles by like 50, 60 yards.
They would beat
that's
them
second.
Eagles.
I know. I'm just saying that's number 2 in defense for passing yards allowed. Rushing yards was your problem. You were the bottom 9 of rushing yards.
Yeah, we don't have
you fix that up and you get that fixed and you get yourself a good quarterback with the great line coming back healthy. This team's going to the playoffs next year easily. Done deal.
Here's my thing.
There's no need to panic in New Orleans.
And I was saying this to a lot of people. Andy Dalton isn't my future, but Andy Dalton, for how many games he started, he put up almost 3,000 passing yards. He had a 66.7 completion percentage, which I think was a career high for him and top 5 in the NFL. If I'm not wrong there, 18 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Like I said, he's not a touchdown producing guy, which sucks. And he also didn't have a lot of help in the beginning of the year because we had so many injuries. But I would bring him back over Winston with just how well he played in this offense. That way, if the quarterback you draft doesn't work out, you have someone in your back pocket. But I agree with you, Dad. I think the Saints are a playoff team. I just think it took them too long to get healthy and also to build chemistry and find the right plays to figure out. But also, Sean Payton retired. It's the first year with coaching. Yeah. It's heartbreaking, but I'm excited for this offseason. I really am, because Dennis Allen was asked, are the Saints looking for a new offensive coordinator? And the way he answered it, he said, it's not something we have evaluated yet, but we are going to evaluate it, because it was terrible, in my opinion.
And the good thing is, Ty, is you guys don't need a first-round pick to get a quarterback. There's going to be plenty of free agents out there that are possibilities. I mean, look at it. Aaron Rodgers is another one now. You know, he didn't want to address the fact that he might be coming back. He's talking about retirement. He's throwing all these little things out there. You know, we know how Aaron Rodgers is. You know, he likes to play the game in the media.
Can you imagine him on that team?
He wouldn't give away his final jersey. He said, you know,
I'm going to hang on to this one because I think that's it. So, I think that's it for Green, at least for Green Bay. I think that's it.
And then today in his news conference, he came out and said the carousel has to stop sometime and you got to hang up the cleats. So he's, you know, the thing is up in Green Bay, the ball's in his court. He's guaranteed $60 million next year. So he would have to work out a deal with Green Bay. He said he's not going to handcuff Green Bay this year. But you have Carr out there. You have Baker Mayfield out there. You have Daniel Jones out there. You have all these guys that are going to become available. And I want to see you're never going to get him. He's going number 1 or number 2 pick overall. He's going to Texas.
CJ?
Hey, I will be honest though, man. Lamar in a New Orleans jersey, man.
You need
can you imagine him and Alvin Kamara? Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. Like, who are you stopping?
So what's with Peyton? Peyton has 1 year left on the deal. Is that why technically they still have his rights?
You have to trade him because we still have his rights. And so if he's, I hope he's not playing it. We're like, oh, I'm just gonna wait till like my contract. I wish he had I hope he has a heart for New Orleans and is like, you know what? Let me get them a first-round pick. Let me go out there and do it.
Well, there's rumors in Denver already that they're already negotiating with the Saints for compensation for Sean Payton. The thing is they
him and Russell Wilson.
They already have
that might be the turnaround.
Coaches.
That might be the turnaround. Hey, we're
I
gonna
hate to say it, but I think Sean Payton could actually make him a halfway decent quarterback. Well, depends what's wrong. I think
we saw it with Winston. Winston was an interception machine, and Sean Payton literally grabbed him by the balls and said, "You throw another interception." You know what I mean? Like, he is that hard coach that like
play calling.
You are not throwing interceptions. It's dumb, and he will rip you a new one if you do a stupid play. And that's why I love him as a coach. You talked about Aaron Rodgers, so let's transition into that. I want your guys' opinion. Do you think this was at least Aaron Rodgers' last game in a Green Bay jersey, or even if he's going to retire?
No, I don't think so.
I say yes.
I can't. It's hard to say that he's going to. I could see him retiring, but I can't see him walking away from that money from Green Bay. So I'm going to say it's not his last time in the Packers. Oh my God! On the one hand, I think that it could be.
I think he's playing. I think he wants to be traded.
Yes, I do too. Yeah. But I don't think nobody wants that. Well, I shouldn't say nobody wants it. There's some
Oh my gosh, you
ridiculous
have no
ass
idea how many
contracts.
teams
Yeah.
would. I said this to Dad. I mean, I said this to Ace earlier before you came on, Dad. I said, you think about it. Randall Cobb's probably not coming back. His buddies all retired. They got a young team where they're not great yet, but they could be good. You got Jordan Love. You know what I mean? Like, it could be the time for him to step away, let that whole Green Bay situation develop, and he can either retire or he can work a deal out with Green Bay where he's like, maybe I'll go to the Raiders. Maybe I'll go to Tampa Bay if Tom Brady retired. You know, maybe he'll go somewhere warm for a year, 2 years. Just like, I don't know. I personally just don't think he's going to be back in Green Bay next year. I mean, Jamal Williams, who just broke Barry Sanders' record, by the way, congratulations to him, 17 touchdowns on the year. He goes up to Aaron Rodgers. Can I get your jersey? Nope, saving it. You know what I mean? The way he answered the media questions in a funny way, like, of course, he could be playing with us because it's Aaron Rodgers, but
and the mock draft has them taking tight end Darnell Washington from Georgia. So I think, you know, the thing is he's got so much time to wait. He can wait till the season's done and over with. He can wait till the draft is over and see what Green Bay does. At the same token, if Green Bay decides to eat some of that deal or turn it into a signing bonus, you know, they might have to pay a little bit to him to be gone, but I don't know what his numbers are. I don't have it in front of me. What's his June 1st as cut? You know, what's the dead cap hit on that? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things, but I don't think he's done. I think he's doing his normal offseason thing. He's playing games. He likes to be. He's like Jerry Jones. Yeah. Jerry Jones loves to have the Cowboys in the media. Aaron Rodgers loves to be in the media.
God, it's so sad for me to think that football is basically over for me. Oh, like I gotta wait so long. Like off season's fun. You know what I mean? Off season's fun, but it takes forever to get to those cool things like open free agency, then the draft, and then it takes forever. But
I don't want to spoil it too much, but for the Vikings fans, I'd love to hope that we're gonna get to the Super Bowl, but
probably not.
The likelihood.
Just
Come on.
kidding. Just
Rudy,
kidding.
I gotta be a realist. Ours might be over soon enough too. Hopefully not, but
hey, just some things I wanted to rattle off real quick, as my dad typically does, you know, like father, like son. Big congratulations to JJ Watt, who did have his final exit of his career where he he will be a Hall of Famer. So huge round of applause to him. Patrick Mahomes did win the passing title this year with 5,250 passing yards. And Nick Bosa did win the sack title with 18.5 sacks. Man, dude, that guy is a beast. And then I did say Jamal Williams with the 17 touchdown broke the Lions single season franchise record, which was held by Barry Sanders. The Lions, man, that sucks, man. They beat the Lions. They beat the Green Bay Packers, but they don't make the playoffs, man. Like you if you're the Lions, you got to be hyped. Like I know you didn't make playoffs, but you got to go sign Jared Goff and you got a team, man. You got a team.
Do they have as many wins next year?
I think they have more. I think
Lions win a division.
I think so too. I agree.
Chris said that. Yeah, Chris, you said that earlier. He's a man of his word. We'll see.
And hey, you think about that Williams receiver they had who didn't play all year, like he's only gonna get better, man. Like if they can get some defensive weapons to go with Aiden Hutchinson, like look out.
The Vikings are already tight on the salary cap anyways. And depending what happens with Cousins' salary, we're gonna have some changes.
I mean, Goff's averaging like over 250 passing yards a game. Like they have a heavy offense.
And did you watch any of that game last night? Their play calling was way more aggressive than the Packers.
He's a great coach.
Packers,
but wait. Would they have done that though if they were still having a chance to win to get in the playoffs?
I don't know.
Would they do a hook and ladder like that?
I would hope so.
I would hope to think they would just have the balls to go through that. Because think about it. You work that in the game plan before you know the outcome of these games anyways. So I'm hoping that they kind of had that mentality. But yeah, their offensive line is great. The play calling is good for Goff.
I love those white uniforms too. If they don't bring Goff back, they're foolish. I'll take him. I'll take Jared Goff.
He's in a dome. There was that knock.
Oh, I would so take Jared Goff. Oh, come on.
You know, the interesting thing too is
in a dome.
The Lions have 2 first-round picks. Their second pick, I believe, is 18th. They haven't taken the quarterback from Florida, Richardson.
I like him.
What?
Yeah. So if they take a rookie quarterback, he's not starting next year. Goff will be safe next year.
It's dumb if they waste those. You see, this is the thing. They can get Goff back, and then they could use those 2 first-round picks. Either go get another great receiver or not a run back. They don't need a run back. Offensive lineman maybe, and a defense or 2 cornerbacks, a safety, like something to stop the bleeding that they have.
That you're right on it. So when you look at, I guess in general, we're kind of talking about team performance and wrapping up the season as a whole. But if you look at the draft picks that the Bears and the Lions have next year, they could easily reload and take over both the top two spots in that division.
Bears will be interesting because
potentially. Vikings will be there still. The Packers, who knows?
you know,
Real interesting though, Ace. You're talking about your Vikings. The Vikings are ranked 7th on the power rankings for the 14 playoff teams. They were 13-4, the number 3 seed in 2019. They lost the division round to the 49ers, 27-10. 13 wins ties them for the most since 1998 when they had the magical 15-1 season.
Yeah.
They set an NFL record for 11 one-score wins. They're 7th in offensive yards, 8th in offensive points. Here's the downside. Only the Lions were the worst defensively in yards allowed entering Week 18, and only 3 teams allowed more points down the stretch. And the thing is, too, is they were 5-3 on the final 8 games. Big concern.
Vikings gave up 33 to the Colts. They 24 to the Giants, who they play. They got blown out by the Packers. Yeah, that's they have not played pretty.
I mean, hey, I don't know about you guys, but that Dallas versus Washington game, that's very concerning for me. I mean,
absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Washington's
Chris,
defensive front is good. We'll break it down, Ace. Let's break it down.
Well, the rankings.
Read my tweets. Read my tweets.
Oh, we know your tweets. I love that your tweets are going off during the game.
Where the Packers, the Cowboys in the power rankings? Are they got
number 6? Which are these
playoff like
these are playoff of the 14th? They're 12-5. They're the 5th seed. 2021, they lost the wild card to the 49ers, 23-17. Stephen Jones has come out on record and said that the Cowboys will be healthy for the Tampa Bay game, meaning they're getting Leighton Vander Esch back. They're getting Hankins back. They're getting
Tom Brady's winning. Divorced man. He's going for it.
They're getting their center back, Biadish. That's one of the things that's been a problem. Since they lost their center, the whole offensive line is playing out of position. I mean, you have Tyron Smith playing right tackle instead of left tackle. You have Tyler Smith playing left guard instead of left tackle. You know, it's just been a mess. The running game is absolutely horrible.
What was your if you had to pick one thing that you said, this is why we're losing right now?
Injuries on defense have been killing us. We're down. We have 3 freaking no names playing cornerback that aren't helping us. We lost Vander Esch. We lost Hankins. And you notice the problem is when we lost Hankins, our sacks went down. We were averaging 4 sacks a game. But at one point, we were the highest sack leader in the NFL and pressures. That all went away when we lost our middle push. You lost Hankins. Guess what? Now they can double team. They can double team Parsons. They can double team Lawrence. They can, you can ship these guys. And if you don't get pressure on quarterbacks, guess what? Quarterbacks are going to rip you apart. And guess what? Your cornerbacks are no names now. You have guys that are that just have never played.
The one bright spot is that I think the Bucs lost their center potentially. I don't know how healthy he's going to be. So if you can get pressure, if these guys are healthy and are playing, and you can get pressure on Brady, he's obviously not going to be able to move in the pocket. So that's the key. I mean, that's the key to beating most quarterbacks, anyways. But the key to beating that team right now, especially because their offensive line is banged up.
The most important thing about Dallas is which team's showing up. Is it the team that blew up Minnesota? Is it, since Thanksgiving, since that Giants game, we have been playing lousy football. Our point differential is only -2. That's it. And it's injuries. Wow. We got injuries at the worst time possible. And it's just, since we're talking about Dallas, I had an interesting stat. The NFC East, it's 18 years now since no one's repeat winning that division. It's the longest streak in football. And over those 18 years, the Eagles won 6 divisions, the Cowboys won 6 divisions, Washington and the Giants each won 3. It's just crazy.
For the NFC East, by the way. I mean, three teams making the playoffs. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I got to give the Shipbirds props as well. The Eagles, they had 14 wins. It's the most in franchise history. They fell 2 sacks short of the most in a season. I guess they had 70 and they needed 72 to tie the record. So just I'll tell you what, as bad as the Cowboys look, there's a lot of teams that look shady this week. I mean, the Eagles struggled against the Giants, who had nobody. I mean, they were up 16-0. Don't get me wrong.
Bad.
But Hurts struggled a little bit too. So it's just going to come down to what Dallas Cowboys team shows up, man.
Yeah.
I say we go through the rest of the power rankings. I think that kind of makes sense since we're sort of recapping both, but then kind of talking.
A real interesting stat for the Cowboys real quick. The Cowboys need to win 3 road games this year to get to the Super Bowl. Okay. The last time they won 3 playoff road games was 1992, 1991, and 1980. They're in trouble. they're in trouble.
Oh snap! Oh
So,
snap!
and I mean, you think about it. The thing that actually pisses me off about the NFL is why do you have a team? Why do you have a team playing on Monday night? Why do you have the Cowboys playing Monday night? If they win, now you get a short week next week against the Eagles. Or if Tampa Bay wins, you get
Why
a short week against the Eagles.
Why is there even a Monday night game? It's playoffs.
It's stupid.
Yeah,
absolutely freaking stupid.
Yeah.
It's just I don't agree with it. I don't know what they're doing, but it's not good for the sport.
Are these the power rankings for the playoffs?
Power rankings for playoffs. They have the Miami Dolphins at 14th. They're the 7th seed. The last playoff appearance was 2016. They lost in a wild card, 30-12 to Pittsburgh.
Hopefully Tua is back.
This is just my opinion. If Tua is not there, they're done. Number 13, they have Seattle. Yeah, look,
it's unlikely that him and
that Munster, whatever his name is,
Mostert, yeah.
Mostert.
Yeah, he broke his thumb, so they're saying he's probably not going to play.
You can't play with a broken thumb.
Hey, the kid from Michigan did. Anyway, Seattle's number 13. They lost a wild card last in 2020 to the Rams. The weapons are Tyler Lockett, DJ Metcalf, and Kenneth Walker. They're 26th in total defense, 25th in scoring defense. They lost both games to the 49ers by a combined score of 48-20. Geno Smith has a passer rating under 75 2 of the last 3 games that
They've
he's
had
played.
a bad second half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same with both teams, Dolphins and them.
Oh yeah, if they're saying the freaking Dolphins coach is going to be on a hot seat.
They might fire him. Yeah, they might fire him, which is terrible.
Absolutely stupid. And why did the Texans do that? Why is this 2 years in a row? It's one and done for your coaches. How do you expect them to build a
team? The Texans fired their head coach?
Yes, Lovie Smith got fired today.
Oh my god,
it's just so stupid. Why would you fire him?
What has changed with the Texans? They got worse. They got worse last year.
Yeah.
They got worse because he wrecked that number 1 seed. Imagine the owner. Imagine the owner watching that touchdown at the end of the game. But
you know what's funny? They said they think he knew he was getting fired before the game started. That's why he went for the 2-point conversion and stuff like that. Anyway, Tampa Bay is actually the number 12 seed right now. They're 8-9. They're the 4th seed.
Team you got to watch out for.
They lost the 2021 divisional round versus the Rams. The Bucks are scoring over. The Bucks are scoring 10 fewer points than last year.
They're getting hot.
Their numbers are down on third down and the red zone. I mean, like you said, Ty, they have Tom Brady. Tom Brady is 7-time champion, played in more playoff games, 47, than any other player in the NFL. They have a top 10 defense, but they rank 24th in scoring. So the thing is they can't run the ball right now. Their line's beat up. They can't run the ball. Dallas, let's face it, if Dallas does not get pressure on Tom Brady, he's got one of the fastest releases in football. They have 3 good receivers. They're going to pick Dallas's cornerbacks apart. You have Diggs on one player, and then you have all these other ones that are available. So they're going to have to find a way to get pressure.
As long as you can shut down Mike Evans, I feel like you can manage that team.
Yeah. And they can't run the ball either, but when your team's banged up with injuries, though, too, on the back end, Chris,
they can't run the ball, but you got to watch out for White because he can run and he can catch.
But they have some key injuries on defense that's going to help Dallas. But the problem is if Vita Vea comes back and these guys and the line for Dallas is beat up and hasn't played together in a while, you don't got that timing down, man. They're going to get pressure. So they got Hicks back too.
But
so
Tampa does not. I think Cowboys roll. I think I shouldn't say they roll.
I think it's
closer
than you think.
I think it's going to be a shootout.
I think it's.
But the Bucks don't have near the depth. They don't have near the depth on the defensive line.
I think the Buccaneers home in the playoffs. So your record doesn't mean squat. Dallas has been struggling. I think this is going to be a closer game than people think.
Oh my God, 8-9 versus what? 12-4.
Hey, look at the Saints and Eagles.
12-5.
I mean, I get Gardner Minshew was playing,
that.
but
my God. I bet Jerry Jones, if they lose, imagine the rant he goes on about
Mike McCarthy.
If this were a home field game, things would be a little bit different. Or if it was based off record, I got to work on that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Zeke and Pollard both have 12 rushing touchdowns this year. Interesting stat though. Zeke's total yards for those touchdowns is only 43 yards. Pollard's is 301. Chew on that for a little bit.
Wait, say it again.
Zeke's total yards for his 12 touchdowns is only 43 yards. Pollard's is 301. That's how many yards he rushed for. They get 12 touchdowns. So
is Zeke more in the goal line? Yeah,
absolutely.
He is so dynamic.
Yeah. All right. Number 11 is Jacksonville, 9-8. 4 seed. I mean, let's face it, man. That should be coach of the year right there. Took that team and turned them into a playoff
I think it's
team.
Giants coach.
Last time they were there, they lost. They lost in 2017 in the AFC Championship to New England, 24-20. October 30th, they were 2-6. They won 5 in a row and 6 of their last 7. They're one of the hottest teams in football right now. The Jags, remember, blew out the Chargers in week 3. So I think if any upset can happen, if you want to consider this an upset, I think this could be the upset. Although Trevor Lawrence didn't do anything in the win against Tennessee. So he looked like he looked horrible.
I'm rooting for Trevor Lawrence and those Jags.
He's got moments. He's got moments in each game, and he's a big dude, like tall. I didn't realize he's
before
he's
you
like 6'4",
before you
6'5".
continue those power rankings. Since you said Trevor Lawrence, I actually had like a little Trevor Lawrence game that I wanted to play with you guys. This is I saw this on TikTok. And I was like, this is a wonderful game. This is a would you rather Trevor Lawrence versus all the guys that I say. Who would you rather have right now? First one is Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, 100%. Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott?
Trevor Lawrence. He's cheaper.
Lawrence.
He's cheaper.
No, money aside, like just the way they've been playing. I mean, Dak's been playing well stat wise. I mean,
I take Dak.
I think I'd take Dak too.
Look, and that's one of the things that aggravates me is the interception thing. We talked about this once before. This interception rule has got to get changed, man. You cannot put all these interceptions on quarterbacks. Dak probably has about 7, 8 of the 14 that he's had.
Who do you think ceiling's higher?
There is a stat that adjusts for that, I think, Chris, but I don't know. Like nobody.
Who's ceiling's higher, Dak Prescott or Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence. He's younger.
Even if they were the same age, though.
You can't do that.
I think Trevor's is
tied.
I think
Trevor Lawrence or Tua.
Trevor Lawrence is only 23 years old, man.
Trevor Lawrence or Tua.
Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor all day. That's an easy one.
Tua might not play football again. Like
might be a backup.
Or that, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence or Kyler Murray?
Trevor.
I don't even like Kyler.
I don't like Kyler's leadership skills. So Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor? Yeah, you got to take Trevor. You can't beat Deshaun Watson.
Insane.
Since you're talking about quarterbacks, you have any more?
Yeah, I got 2 more.
Jimmy G? Is Jimmy G going to come up?
Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
Trevor Lawrence.
I think Kirk's more accurate.
Kirk Cousins.
We're saying right now, like age actually.
Just right now. If you had to pick one, say you're at the gym class.
Kirk Cousins. Trevor Lawrence only had one good year, and it wasn't even a whole good year this year. He had like a good last 7 games of the season.
You also think about the non-weapons he really technically even has on that team. He's playing well with them.
I was gonna say, and the fact that, like, not to be weird, but his height, like, just being able to see over, because I think Kirk Cousins is maybe 6'1". I like Lawrence. I might.
I like Lawrence.
Kirk.
I think his ceiling is high. Last one. Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts?
I gotta say. Jalen, I think it's hard though. I don't.
What's funny is when I was watching this video
now, I'll take Hurts.
When I was watching this video, like literally all 3 of the guys immediately were like Trevor Lawrence. And I was like, wow, that's a good debate though. Like, I mean, I think what Jalen Hurts has done, like you said. But also, if you compare both with the offensive weapons Jalen Hurts had, I'm not taking anything from him. I mean, he's just been blessed with that opportunity. But I've always been a big Jalen Hurts fan. I think I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
They let him. Not to say that Trevor can escape. Well, here, let's keep going.
Real quick, since you were talking about quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes is the oldest AFC quarterback in this year's playoffs.
Isn't that
at 27 years old? If he wins a second MVP, he'll make Mahomes the first player under 30 to win 2 MVPs in a Super Bowl. Wow. The other quarterbacks in this playoffs in the AFC are Allen at 26, Burrow at 26, Lawrence at 23. If Lawrence don't play, if Jackson's 26,
new generation of quarterbacks,
Herbert
man.
24, Tua 24, and if Jackson doesn't play, Huntley's at 24. Yeah, the youth movement is definitely on in football.
Well, I mean, you think about it. If Tom Brady retires and Aaron Rodgers retires, with JJ Watt retiring, like, who's left from like the generation of me growing up?
Yeah.
No one. And an interesting stat, we were talking about
Joe
Sean
Flacco.
Payton earlier. Sean Payton had 3 losing seasons with
Andy
Drew
Dalton.
Brees before he left there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's not like he's
that was
be
like
a hot commodity.
that was like how long ago though? Our last 3 years we were like averaging 11 wins.
But I'm just saying, Sean Payton's just a name. It's not like he's going to come in and you're going to be guaranteed to go to the playoffs. I mean, Mike McCarthy's went to 1 Super Bowl.
But I think Sean Payton's the last of a good breed where like they were those hard coaches like Bill
And
Purcell's
his play calling.
His
The
play
only thing
calling's
I
good.
like about Sean Payton is he started his career in Dallas. That's the only thing I like about him.
I think he learned from a great coach, and he learned not to take crap and really
Hey.
put the players in their spot.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer probably was on that team. Jason Garrett was probably the quarterback
Dave
behind Aikman at that
Wannstedt was
time.
Dave Wannstedt used to be the Steelers coach. He was the freaking on the
Yeah.
Cowboys too, a defensive coordinator.
Hey, continue your power rankings, and then we'll do our predictions for the playoffs.
All right, number 10 is the Giants, 9-7-1. They have the number 6 seed. 2016 is they lost the wild card round, 38-13 to Green Bay. They're 17th in total offense, 24th in total defense, 0-4 against the Eagles, Dallas, and lost to the Vikings in Week 14. So the thing is are they going to be able to put up a fight against Minnesota?
One of the only teams that rested their
think-
players.
Yeah, I think the Giants are actually should be 13th. I think the Seahawks could beat them.
Yeah.
I think that Minnesota game is gonna be a close game.
All right, I'm just going to jump through these real quick. Number 8 is Baltimore. If they don't have Lamar, they're done. It's just, let's face it.
I mean,
Number 8 is
keeping them alive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't. What offense do they have, man? They really don't have anything.
Where's the Steelers on this? Didn't the Steelers make the playoffs? Or am I tripping?
No, you're tripping.
The
Dang, I don't know what I was
Dolphins
watching.
just needed a win.
Oh,
Number 8 is the Chargers. Mike Williams, they came out today, said he is going to play. They just got Joey Bosa back. He got hurt again, man. This guy is like made of aluminum foil or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with this guy, but
Chargers are
you know
so
what?
inconsistent though. Like lately, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
They
they're
have a-
high
they have
for
the-
8, I think.
They have the 9th ranked offense, but defensively they're a mess. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think we'll talk about that later. But I think that's going to be one of the upsets. We talked about the Vikings already. The Vikings are number 7. Dallas is number 6. I think both of those teams are. Man, I don't know. And one of them is going to make it to the next round. One of them's not.
Or they both get eliminated.
Number 5 is the Eagles, which is interesting. You know, the Eagles, they lost the wild card to Tampa Bay back in 2021. They're the 5th ranked rushing offense with Hurts. So the key is going to be is Hurts playing. Hurts has 22 TDs, 5 picks, 67.3% completion percentage. They're 8th ranked scoring defense, 2nd in yards allowed, 70 sacks leads the league. So Hurts basically drives the bus.
Wow.
If I'm telling you right now, if Hurts plays and he plays well, you're going to see the Eagles, 49ers, NFC Championship.
You also think about it, they played a Giants team last week that rested their starters while the Eagles played their starters, and they barely won that game. Like it was like 22-16.
Your quarterback was out 5 weeks?
I think
there's going to be rust there. There's going to be rust there.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
number 4, they got the 49ers, man. They're not giving any freaking praise to any of these teams from the NFC to be in the top 2. 49ers have one of the best defenses. They have Purdy, who is 6-0 now. Defense allowed only 27 points 3 times this year. They're awesome. So they're going to go, as long as this quarterback doesn't make dumb mistakes, they're going to ride this defense and they're going to go pretty far. And it all comes down to McCaffrey's health and Deebo Samuel's health as well.
Hey, let me ask you real quick.
Shanahan's an X factor.
Before you move on, is there a quarterback competition next year for the 49ers?
I think I tell you what, this kid, I don't know what his contract is like right now, but he's a 3rd stringer. He won't be a 3rd stringer next year.
I think it's like one of those situations where it's Trey Lance's job to lose because you spent so many draft picks on him. But I think Brock Purdy like goes in there with how hot he's been with this offense. And like, I mean, I'll take Brock Purdy. I mean,
you want to talk about freaking coach of the year, man. Shanahan right there should be coach.
3 coaches. 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
So that makes me think like he's running such a good offensive scheme that any quarterback could thrive in that.
Well, and it's not just that. He takes advantage of the players he has. McCaffrey would not be doing this in Carolina.
No.
Would he be throwing the ball in Carolina? Maybe if they're.
I'm telling you, this might be a team that we think back to on that trade deadline where we're like, that was dumb. Where that might win them a Super Bowl. Even if he gets injured next year or something like, and you don't have those draft picks anymore, it got you to the Super Bowl and you won.
Let me ask you this: who's gone, Jimmy G or Trey Lance?
Well, Jimmy G's a free agent, I think, but that's why I think it's going to be a Trey Lance and Brock Purdy competition. Yeah, Jimmy G's gone. He's gone.
Yeah,
he's not coming back. Well, you can bring 3 quarterbacks for.
Yeah, with Purdy, like if you even if they because Trey Lance was what, top 3 or 3rd overall. Even if you say you're going to let him kind of start the season, I feel like Purdy could be a great backup.
I'm telling you what's going to happen.
You're
You're going to have
an
a
open competition.
100%.
In camp?
Yes,
You're going to have a Jimmy G dilemma too, where Trey Lance starts to struggle and they're going to be chanting Purdy.
Yeah. I think Purdy can keep it though. Like depending on, well, here, we'll let you finish, Chris. Depending
But
on
he's got the team backing him up though. Like, do you hear the players talk about him? Like the stadium has signs made for him. Like I wouldn't want to, I mean, that's a good problem to have, but it's like you're scratching your head. Like, what do we trade Trey Lance away for draft picks and just kind of roll the dice?
I guarantee you this guy's probably under contract for like $5 million at that.
Like nothing.
Like, what does third stringers make in the NFL?
Purdy?
He was the last pick overall in the draft.
Yeah,
so he's probably making the minimum,
much.
Especially if he was practice squad, because you have to be practice squad. They're not carrying three quarterbacks on the team.
Signed a 4 year 3.7. 3.7.
There you go.
Like
how many years?
So 4. He's got an average annually. God, 934,000
a year.
Oh my God! And how many more years? How many more years do you have on that contract?
So I guess rookies, it's a 4 year with I think the first round you get the 5th year option, I believe. But it's
would you want to be the starting quarterback for $900,000 a year?
I mean, depends who you are as a person. I think if he goes out there next year and wins again, I think you're like, all right, to your agent, you're like, all right, I want some money.
Yeah, but I don't know how that works. I don't think they can get out of their rookie deals anymore. I think with the new CBA, and it's harder now.
But also, like, if you're Brock Purdy, you complain about money when you just won the starting job. Like, when both these guys go down, now you're the man in California. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, real quick. Number 3, they have the Cincinnati Bengals, 12-4, 3 seed. Lost the Super Bowl last year, 23-20. Top 7 scoring offense and defense. They lack a ground attack. They're 29th in yards for rushing. That's going to be their biggest hurdle to get over, because Joe Burrow's good, but if you can actually take away the passing game and force them to run and they can't run, that's how you beat them.
Which I'm shocked by, because I feel like Joe Mixon was doing a great job early on in the year.
Yeah. Number 2, and this team is riding high right now of emotions because it has DeMar Hamlin freaking written all over them, and all
they're going to go all the way now for that
complete stop. You know what's interesting? On Sunday, they ran that kickoff back, the first kickoff back in 3 years and 3 months. And what number is DeMar Hamlin?
That's crazy.
Number 3.
No way.
And you know what? Allen threw 3 touchdowns in that game. Amazing. But
that is good.
This is the most well-balanced team in football right now. They lost the division round last year to Kansas City 42-36 on that horrible overtime dilemma. They won't have to play a true road game this postseason at all. If they get the Kansas City in the championship game, it's going to be at a neutral site because of all the stuff that happened. So they're going to ride the Hamlin wave. And this team, I've been saying it all year, this is your Super Bowl team right here. It's going to be them versus the Eagles or the 49ers. Whoever
I wouldn't want to play in Buffalo right now.
Yep. But I just think they're the most balanced team right now in football. And I think like this just put them over the top.
And I know we've been talking about, hold on. I know we've been talking about the NFC, like with the Eagles, with Dallas, with the Minnesota Vikings. But you think about those 3 teams, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Buffalo Bills. Like, those are 3 teams that very well all could be picked evenly to go to the Super Bowl. Like, those are 3 good teams. Like, I would love to see Cincinnati versus the Bills to go to the Super Bowl.
The key for the Bills, though, is Allen cannot blow it by throwing interceptions, because he tends to get sloppy and force stuff with his hands. Their running game is starting to pick up now. Singletary's starting to get hot. They just got to stay with it, and they'll be fine. The number 1 team right now for the rankings is Kansas City, 14-3, the number 1 seed. 2021, they lost the AFC Championship. About what?
No one's talking about it, man.
Yeah. They lost the Cincinnati in the AFC Championship. They're riding high. They won 5 straight, 9 out of 10 games since the bye week. Number 1 offense in yards and points per game. The only thing that I can see that stops them is if you get pressure on Mahomes, he showed it last year, he can't function properly. That's the key. If you get pressure on him and you force him out of that pocket, you have a chance to beat them. Defensively, they've been struggling. They've been giving up a lot of points lately too, and having to come back with comeback wins. But let's face it, it's playoff time. Mahomes
I don't think I've watched one Kansas City game this year. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Outside of highlights, I don't. They did that like weird. Did you see the little whoop-de-whoop that?
Yeah.
They did
What the heck was that?
Or the huddle? They just started spinning like a top.
And real quick, we'll do the playoff rankings for quarterbacks, and this is just my projection. You guys can chime in wherever you want. Number 14, I have Tua. Number 13, I have Lamar. Number 12, I have Geno Smith. Number 11, I have Daniel Jones. Number 10, I have Trevor Lawrence. Number 9, I have Brock Purdy. Number 8, I have Tom Brady. Number 7, I have Cousins. Number 6, I have Prescott. 5, Herbert. 4, Hurts. 3, Burrow. 2, Allen. And number 1, Mahomes.
That's a pretty good list you got there.
Man, I still like Kirk a little higher, but
I'll settle down.
What, higher
top,
like 10th?
back
Or higher
down.
that way? Or
No,
higher?
the other way. Better.
Would you put Cousins ahead of Herbert, Hurts, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes?
Okay,
Maybe
Herbert.
Dak.
I
Maybe
think
we can
Herbert.
flip-flop him and Dak.
I think Herbert's interesting, but Herbert offensively is having a good statistical year, but something about the Chargers when I think of them, 1 minute they're winning and playing great football, and the next they're playing dumb football.
Yeah, but how many games this year did he have no receiving weapons?
I know, and that's another thing. The injuries, but
he is insane. He's like
he's
Lawrence.
good. There's a great young talent of quarterbacks here, and it's kind of crazy to see that how 90% of those guys are in the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some predictions here because this podcast getting a little late. My time, Easter time over here for you guys. Saturday, 4:30 game. We got the Seattle Seahawks going in to the San Francisco 49ers. Divisional game. Crowd's gonna be loud. They're gonna be chant Purdy. Who's Trey Lance? As up and down as Seattle's been with that second half of the year, I don't think you're stopping the 49ers right now with just how they're flying. I'm taking 49ers all day in this game. I do think it's going to be close, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Seattle will kind of keep it close, but I'm taking the 49ers.
Yeah, I think they'll play them tough, but unless I think Kenneth Walker's back for Seattle. I feel like both teams should be more at full strength too. So, but regardless, coaching makes a difference. Pete Carroll's a great coach, but they just don't have the playmakers that 49ers have.
Yeah, I'm taking 49ers. I said 49ers are going to the NFC Championship game, so 49ers.
I'm excited for this game, and I wish it wasn't that far away because maybe I drive to, but the Chargers in Jacksonville, which I'm very happy for Jacksonville, getting a home playoff game. When's the last time that happened? When they played the Patriots in 2015 or something. I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm rooting for them. I love to see the underdogs, the team it's new. They're new in there. It's I think about the Kansas City Royals in the MLB postseason when I was like, who the heck are these guys? And then they go on and win the World Series. I'm taking Jacksonville. I think it's going to be a battle of the two stud quarterbacks in Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. But the way Trevor's been slinging the ball, I know he struggled against Tennessee, but I'm taking Jacksonville.
I was leaning Jacksonville too, but I feel like we're all going to pick Jacksonville, which just seems weird because Chargers.
I think Mike Williams maybe re-injures whatever it is. It's injured night, not fully healthy.
Yeah. They've been. Both teams have kind of been up and down all year, but I think the latter half of this year, Jaguars have played more consistent, better football. So I like them.
I'm taking the Jags. I just think it's at home.
It's an 8:00 game. It's a nighttime game on Saturday.
I just think they're clicking at the right time, and
yeah,
I just think there's so much momentum on that team. It's going to be like TCU beating Georgia tonight. It's going to be upset city, baby.
No. Will they do?
My buddy, by the way, was at that Georgia game. He's a huge Georgia fan. That's crazy that it was at the strike of midnight that field goal went. We got Miami Dolphins going into Buffalo, New York. I'm taking Buffalo all day. I think if Tua is playing, it's closer than it is, but I'm taking Buffalo.
Buffalo blowout. That's gonna be so loud in that stadium, man. And you know what? They're calling for a nor'easter on the East Coast. It's gonna be ugly. So I'm just saying Buffalo, baby. Buffalo in a big win. I say this is gonna be double-digit victory here.
Got a lot of Miami fans down here. They keep going fins up, baby. I'm like, you guys aren't going far.
Dolphins played terrible down the stretch. They got their fate served up nice and hot to them. They deserve to face the Bills for how they played.
The only thing that we can defend Miami with is when they played Buffalo the second time with Tua, they dominated Buffalo. They dominated Buffalo. I'm not saying Buffalo is just going to win. They're going to kill them. If Tua plays, who's to say there's not an upset here?
I just think there's too much emotion. Too much emotion.
100%. I think they're going to ride that.
Hamlin flew back home today. I would not be surprised if he's released from the hospital that he flips the coin at the start.
I was
to
say
game.
if he's there, they're winning.
Or he comes
winning.
out on the field and he waves a flag or the Bills Mafia flag or something. That place is going to be electric. I'm going to tell you right now, if it snows, it's going to be so hot with emotion, it won't even freaking stick to the field. That's how it's going to be in that freaking stadium. I'm just saying Bills double digit all day.
Yeah, this is just not a good. It doesn't matter who the Bills were playing. This is just all this momentum that they have is on. Yeah.
NFC wildcard 4:30 game Sunday. Big game here in Minnesota as they have the New York Giants coming into town. Hey, I'll let you guys pick first. Ace, let's hear. What do the Vikings got? What do the Vikings got to do to get this win?
Possession. We need to stop them. We know they're going to run the ball. They can't do anything else. We need to stop the freaking run, play action, screen passes, boots, whatever cute crap that they're going to throw at the Vikings. Patrick Peterson in that defense. Harrison Smith should be back healthy. He's kind of been banged up the last 5 or 6 games. He's kind of toughed it out here and there, but the last couple he's missed. We need to get creative with Justin Jefferson. I don't really know how they're going to match up defensively, but we need to make sure that he gets his touches and we absolutely just freaking dominate from start to finish. And we need a fast start. Vikings need to start fast.
The key to this game, too, is it's going to be loud in your stadium. Daniel Jones has no playoff experience at all. So if you make it so loud in there that he has to use audibles and he has to use silent snap counts, you can get to him. The thing is, too, is you got to be able to stop Saquon Barkley. That guy is a beast. They're going to double JJ, Justin Jefferson. They're going to double him.
Yeah.
So, let's go. It's going to snow today.
Damn straight, they're going to Kirk's going to have to get other guys involved. The ground game, you need long drives to kill the clock. But I see the Vikings winning this. I don't want to say handily. I just think defensively, if they can somehow, some way to develop a defense, this Vikings team can go far. You have the offense to do it. You just need the defense to follow it.
Yep. That's the one part they've been getting torched in the air all year.
The Vikings have let me down. I needed them to win last week for the Saints to continue their playoff hopes. I'm taking the New York Giants. Screw the Vikings. I think Saquon Barkley is going to have 100 yards rushing. I think Daniel Jones is going to have at least 80 yards rushing. I think they're going to silence the crowd. I think they're going to win time of possession. I think Kirk Cousins and the Vikings have run out of their magic comebacks, and I think it's going to end. I think the Giants are going to win. Vikings, the Vikings
lone wolf here.
Vikings hurt my heart last week. Screw them.
So it's more of a personal thing. It's more of a personal thing.
I root for you, Ace. Deep down, I'm rooting for you. I am, Rudy. I'm rooting for you guys. You guys deserve it. Ravens versus Bengals. I think this is going to be a good game. I think if Lamar is back, I think this is going to be a very, very good game. But I'm taking the Bengals. I think Joey Burrow, man, the revenge tour is real. Popping out the cigars. He's a very calm quarterback. He throws a great spiral. It's an 8:00 game on Sunday night. It's in Cincy. I think you're going to see him in the playoffs a lot. I think it's his game. It's his game to lose. I think I'm taking Bengals.
Yeah, we're going chalk on almost all of these. I got to go Bengals too. I think they're just better overall team. Their offensive line is banged up, I think. So
it is.
I don't know how much that hurts them overall.
But I think defensively, this team's clicking. They're playing strong. Like we talked about, they don't have much of a running game. Lamar's coming back after being out how many weeks? He hasn't thrown a ball to anyone. There's going to be definitely rust. He's going to try to use his legs. I think they're going to smother him with their defense. I think it's Bengals all day. I think it's headed down to the 3-headed monster, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Bills.
Last game we have here for Jerry Jones. You got the Dallas Cowboys going into Tampa Bay for an 8:00 Monday night game. That's only 2 hours from me. I should look at tickets. It's only 2 hours from me. Man, Dad, it's a tricky situation here because Dallas has me worried here. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys because they're going to be healthy. Dak Prescott has basically led the NFL in points per game. But I don't think this is going to be something where Dallas just comes in and rolls over Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady is, they struggled this season. It's playoffs. It's Tom Brady. We all know how that goes. You can't rule him out. So I think this is going to be close. And it wouldn't shock me if Tampa Bay beats Dallas because I just think Dallas has struggled lately just winning games. Yeah. I mean, you could say defense too, but even offensively sometimes with the Commanders game, I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling. I'm taking Dallas though.
No, you're right. You're right there. Look, like we talked about it earlier, man. I said if Dallas comes back healthy and they get those guys back, Hankins, Biadasz, and Leighton Vander Esch. I mean, they just picked up Xavier Rhodes from Buffalo to play cornerback. So if they can get him some time on the field, they have that what's that Alexander guy they picked up from Minnesota as well. So the thing is, Mackenzie Alexander. So the thing is if Dallas can get some help somehow, some way, and get pressure up the middle on Tom Brady, the Cowboys will win this game. If the Cowboys have a typical Dak Prescott sloppy game, then we're in trouble. But I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys in this game. This could be their only victory this year because whoever wins goes to Philly, and that's not going to be an easy game in Philadelphia. I'm taking the Cowboys, but it's going to be a shootout.
Silence that crowd real quick. That's all I'm saying.
So for both your sakes, I'm going to pick the Buccaneers because I hope that if we don't all go in on one, it helps. Yeah. For no other reason than I just want some good juju going into this week because this is a very, very tough matchup. It's the playoffs. So every matchup's going to be tough, but could you imagine if they got the number 1 seed just based off a fluke? Eagles somehow lose to the Giants and now they end up with a freaking bye. How crazy would that have been? I mean, obviously it didn't happen, but I'm just thinking like the Cowboys really had a letdown yesterday. But
the sad thing is if the Eagles lost that game to the Giants, the Cowboys lost to Washington, so the Eagles still would have ended up the 2 seed. Cowboys would have ended up the 5th seed. It's just I don't know.
I'll be honest. I feel like I'd rather play in Philadelphia than Minnesota. There's something about the Minnesota stadium and the crowd that kind of always gets my chills going.
God, no, I can't even agree with that.
Like, I just think that the way they have their horns for third down and stuff, like, I'm like, dang, man, like, I wouldn't want to play there.
Well, we'll keep track of our picks, see where we end up, and see who has the most wins, and we'll just go from there.
My hot takes, baby.
Love it.
Well, that's all we got for you guys. We hope you enjoyed this. I don't know what the score of the Georgia and TCU game is and who won by the time you listen to this podcast, but man, playoff football is something that I'm so excited about. And this is 2 years in a row the Saints aren't in it, so I'll probably cry every day. But we hope y'all enjoy the rest of your week, and we can't wait to talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Peace.